definitely see Carmelo's cards a little bit better. We've got Spyral Rescue, Spyral Super Agent, Machine Duplication, and I can't make out one of those cards. It looks like Silent Swordsman level 5. But
Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Bochum 2018. This is going to be a bit confusing because you guys just watched a feature match with Carmelo Buttiglieri in it, and he's going to be in our feature match for this round. So don't get confused. We're not going to continue the match that you just saw, which was from a previous event. We're going to go back to Bochum 2018, round number 3, where Carmelo Buttiglieri from Germany is going up against Adam Chamberlain from Ireland.
Yeah, from Dublin.
From Dublin, in fact. You know this guy.
I know him as far as earlier on today. He came up to me and said, "We actually let's start the whole story." But, you know, a lot of people come and like, "Oh, can I have a feature match?" And you know, there's always several basic questions of, you know, what are you playing, how well are you doing, and these people are ticking all the boxes. So Adam Chamberlain walked up, "Yeah, I'm EXO. I'm playing something crazy," and yeah, and I was like, "Oh."
Are you a nice person?
Yeah, I could hear the accent. Where are you from? Dublin. I'm from Dublin. I was like, this is great.
Crazy places also helping.
Yeah, crazy places, crazy decks. He's playing the Grand Marshu OTK.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing here. We got Grand Mario on the one hand side. On the other side, we have True Draco. Also something we don't expect to see that often. And by Carmelo Buttiglieri, who went to Worlds.
Yeah, it was.
So it's not somebody who's like never heard of before. This is a good player. He's playing True Draco. Thomas, what do you think? What's his way of thinking about this? Why did he approach it this way and go with True Draco for this?
True Draco is a really strong choice going into this event. You see he's gone with the Inspector Border version, and he has the side-decked Amano Iwato to deal with a Pendulum Magician first-turn setup. So he's trying to lock the opponent out from using any of their monster effects. He has Skill Drain and Monarch's Erupt to have trap cards that floodgate out monster effects. But it could be a bit difficult here because we see the Grand Maju, the effect of that is continuous, so it won't be turned off by Inspector Border. And we also have main decked Kaijus for Adam, which are very powerful against the True Draco deck.
He comes prepared against this.
Yeah.
Guys, we are a little bit behind the main event, so we don't want to keep you waiting any longer. Let's go to the feature match table for round number 3. Right there on the left you see Carmelo, on the right you see Adam. Carmelo with a new look. I don't remember seeing him like that. And yeah, I'm pretty certain I've seen Adam before, at least once or twice.
Yeah.
It might have actually been after an event, because those Irish people, they are known to hang around in hotel lobbies for a very long time.
Well, may have been the European Championships in Dublin.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. He's
So a lot of spell cards and a lot of allures and no monsters.
Oof. What's this? He's playing the wrong game. Some other games that would be really good. All cards in one color.
Yeah.
All right. So, Thomas, you hinted at it. This is looking pretty good for Adam with the way the matchup is structured and everything.
That's right.
And Grand Mayu, oof, 3 allures.
It's not looking so good for him with that opening hand. He may be in a position where he's forced to set 4 of his cards and then activate the Allure of Darkness and hope that he finds a Dark Monster. But if he goes down that route, he's stuck with an evenly matched that can't really be played because he's got loads of cards clogging up his board. And he might even be forced to play the blind Allure more than once in a single turn, just to keep digging for an answer.
Just imagine we see 3 times a blind allure.
Yeah.
That would be a first. That would definitely be a first.
Yeah.
But he's not going first.
Very happy to see that.
This is really good for him.
Carmelo is playing first, yeah. Adam just needs to draw like a Necroface, basically any Dark Monster, and be in business.
The Necrophase would be really good.
Necroface would be perfect. That would be the perfect thing to draw.
Okay.
Strong start for Carmelo here, getting the first turn card of Demise, just finding all of the resources.
Oh, that's really rough.
So no shenanigans with Allure of Darkness, at least not in the first turn, thanks to the
Not until the main phase 2, we see evenly matched.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good point, good point. I keep forgetting about this. This game is way too complex.
Evenly matched is great.
Wow, so this is weird. Like, both of these guys have interesting opening hands, to say the least. This is a nice mix of different archetypes, this True Draco. And we don't always see it with the Monarchs.
Nope.
Yeah, so there's a lot of searching going on for Carmelo here, but everything that he's accruing so far is going straight to his board. He's played Card of Demise, so he won't want to be ending with any cards in his hand.
Yeah.
Unless he draws his one copy of Solemn Judgment, he's likely to get absolutely hammered by this evenly matched coming down.
Yeah. So Anti-Spell Fragrance.
Does nothing too evenly.
It's terribly. You're feeling so secure in this spot and everything. There's a Grand Mayu.
If we have the face cam here, just when he says battle phase, you can pinpoint the moment that Carmelo's soul rips in half.
Oh, he did!
He's got the Solemn!
That's amazing.
Oh my god!
The perfect draw from the True Draco heritage.
Look at him. So his soul was not ripping in half.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I got this. Look
Yeah.
at this. Look at Carmelo. He's in his happy place right
Yeah.
now."
Adam was here ripping, and Carmelo was like, no!
Oh my god! This was
Set
also
for
the last
pass.
card that was set. Like we didn't even see it on the app with all of that searching going on. Oh my god! Oof! That is so rough for Adam.
Wow. Set 4 pass is not ideal in this particular situation.
So you're continuing the trend of understatements for the
Yeah,
weekend.
absolutely.
The Dragonic Diagram already face up on the field, and all of the True Draco spells are just going to continue to rip apart all of those set cards. So one, maybe two of them will be gone before we even get back to Adam's turn.
Yeah, and also, like, in case you're wondering, this chair's not automatically, like, moving left and right like that. This is actually Carmelo's own work. He's sitting in a very comfortable position. He's, like, so relaxed right now.
Wow.
Wow, that was such a
Solemn
surprise,
Judgment.
honestly.
Is that the first time we're seeing Solemn Judgment on the live stream as well? I think it might be.
Oh my god. Don't get me into this situation again. I've seen this card a million times doing coverage, but on the stream, probably not.
I don't think so. I think it's the first time.
It's like we're watching like the oldest cards in the game again.
Yeah.
With Monster Reborn and Solemn Judgment, and just wait for Chinzo. Although we have seen that card on the stream
Yeah,
before.
we definitely have.
All right. So he's taking out one of the many allures.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's like the best user can get out of this card right now.
Yeah.
With like nothing to combine it with.
Yeah, that's rough.
Oof. So, Carmelo Buttiglieri in a very, very good spot right now. Thanks to that anti-spell fragrance, completely shutting down anything that Adam can do, really. He's down to one Allure of Darkness. At this point, it looks like a practical choke that is being played on him.
He does still have the Raigeki set as well, though, so if he's able to get to his main phase without that being destroyed by Masterpiece, he may be able to attempt to pull something back together. The Masterpiece being summoned with a monster and trap immunity will not be protected from Raigeki, so there is potential for counterplay, but it's really not looking good for Adam at this point. He needs to find his way to a Pot of Desires to start pumping up the attack of his Grand Maju in hand.
Right. And he's down to 2,150 LP, so not much more breathing room for him. He needs to make his comeback right now.
But if we see him finding his way into banishing some cards, then only 4,000 life points left on the other side of the table.
That's also a good point.
You can have a very big Grand Maju very quickly. So the Raigeki does survive. I think that was
Wow.
Oh
all
my God.
three Allure
Three
of
allures
Darkness.
are all gone, and oh my god, this game.
And the Raigeki
There's
lives
the
through
Raigeki.
the gauntlet.
Oh, I don't want to be Carmelo
And
right now.
the Masterpiece is not protected by spell cards either,
That's
is it?
correct.
Right,
It's
yeah.
only got immunity to monsters and traps.
Only got immunity.
There's the Monarchs Erupt.
Interesting that was chosen to be flipped there. He can't activate it later in the turn if he doesn't flip it now, but I believe it destroys itself in the end phase if he doesn't control a tribute summoned monster.
That was weird.
Negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field whose
Oh,
while those
skill
monsters
drain.
are face-up on
We
the
choose
field,
skill drain.
except tribute summon monsters. During your end phase, if you control no tribute summon monsters, send this card to the graveyard.
Okay, only during his end phase, so he will be able to
Yeah.
protect it by tribute summoning
gonna
his
hang around.
searched Ignis.
And he also just protected himself from very unlikely but possible OTK by a Grand Maju.
Grand Maju wouldn't have any attack at this point because there's only 2 banished cards, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, if he somehow went into combo mode and everything, and yeah, you're right, of course. Like, he was a million miles away from that. Now, we see Skill Drain and Ignis Heat. in Camelo's hand.
Not falling for that again. Oh no, double trap.
He's like, I got this time. Yeah, so overall this still looks good, and it's so good in fact that Camelo is wrapping things up in the first game. That's the quickest victory we've seen so far this weekend in just 6.5 minutes. So 1-0 against the Grand Maju OTK, which we thought was well positioned, but to be fair, Adam had anything but a good opening hand.
No, it was pretty rough.
Playing second into anti-spell fragrance is difficult for just about anyone in this format.
And Solemn Judgment, let's not forget about that. For that evenly matched, that would have otherwise made all the difference.
Yeah, that game was a completely different game if he didn't have Solemn Judgment.
Yeah.
Just the merit, it sings to the merits of Solemn Judgment, of just how strong it is.
All right, let's see if Camelo has anything in the side deck that he can bring in that's going to help here. He's got a lot of board wipes with Darkhold, Raigeki, and even Lightning Vortex. Imperial Iron Wall.
Absolutely devastating in this matchup. So,
it's like, did somebody tell him? Hey, you're going to be in a feature match?
Playing Iron Wall.
Yeah, you're going to be playing against somebody who wants to banish a lot of cards. Is it good against anything else?
Imperial Iron Wall's great. It's good against all sorts. It's good against the Lightsworn deck. Resolves around Mizuki's and Snow.
Okay, so, but not like it's not like against the main decks that we're going to see this weekend.
It's very good against Trickstars, and it's typically brought in as a counter side deck for evenly matched. So we see that the True Draco deck, if it hadn't had the Solemn Judgment there, would have been absolutely ripped apart by evenly matched. But if your opponent goes to the battle phase with nothing on their side of the field, flip up an Iron Wall, or even just you don't need to. Wait until they play the evenly matched and then chain your Iron Wall.
This man is a sadist.
That's even better.
But I don't think that we even see outs to an Imperial Iron Wall from Adam here. He doesn't have any Twin Twisters.
Cyclones.
He has Cosmic Cyclone, but as a card that banishes the target, it's not the best against Iron Wall. You have to chain it to the activation.
Yeah.
He does have
That's
a Royal Decree, 3 copies of in the side deck, so that would be able to turn off the
That'll do it.
Iron Wall.
That's going to be interesting to see
But
what these guys are going to be drawing into.
Royal Decree not the strongest against True Draco, because even if you negate the effects of their traps, they're still just tribute fodder.
In this particular scenario, against that Iron Wall, may make all the difference.
Interesting. I mean, they have some interesting side deck choices here, and very good for this particular matchup.
I'll be intrigued to see whether Adam opts to go first or second here. So the True Draco deck, one of the best decks at playing second into a board, and Adam's deck is all about cheesing through huge amounts of damage, so he may want to have the first battle phase.
Yeah. So we see a Raigeki in Adam's opening hand.
Plenty of board wipes.
That suggests that he's opted to play second if he's filled his deck with all of the board wipes.
Yeah, he's got evenly matched Raigeki, Kaiju Slumber, and then Gren and Eater of Millions.
That's better than his first turn opening hand, but I think almost anything is better than his first game opening hand.
Well, his first game opening hand looked absolutely fine until we saw the Solemn Judgment.
Oh, yeah, and the Solemn Judgment, yeah. That's true. It's the second time this weekend that we see like somebody being locked down, and then all of a sudden this one counter trap is making all the difference.
Yep.
5 face downs.
And Card of Demise.
Oh my. Way to rub it in, Camelo.
7 card opening hand going first. It's just...
I'd always choose first if I got to draw 7 cards.
yeah, I would as well.
I mean, we always choose first anyway for the most part, but just having 2 extra cards is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he's got a Port of Duality, Majesty Maiden, the True Draco Slayer, and a Masterpiece. So a lot of that is going to be useful.
If you did have 7 cards going first, how many cards do you think you would have to give to second before you decided to choose second? Obviously, deck dependent, all that kind of stuff. What do you think generally you'd have to give?
If you had a 7-card hand going first, you'd have FTKs so consistent that you could never play second.
There would be no second player.
You'd have 1-turn games.
Yeah, I was hoping that he would come up with a number and then I would suggest that point, but he beat me to it.
Yeah, this man is good. Comes prepared.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there would be any number of cards
Like
that you could
even
possibly
9
give.
cards or 10 cards is still not enough.
Yeah, I don't think it would matter.
Right.
And even if you somehow were able to prohibit the existence of any FTK strategy, being able to reliably field a board full of negations, as we see the Pendulum Magician deck do,
Yeah.
even with just a 5-card hand, you'd be amplifying that and increasing the consistency to the point where it doesn't really matter how many cards the person playing second has. Nothing that they have is going through.
Well, I guess if they had like 10 cards, then they would have enough hand traps to stop it all.
You'd have to build your deck full of those hand traps, and then you start wondering, are you hurting your chances of going first? There would be a lot to consider if you had more cards,
Yeah.
but
It's definitely a big question.
I think that going first only gets better. The more cards in hand doesn't increase the number of normal summons that you get, and it doesn't increase the number of plays that you can have in your deck.
Yeah. But we see Carmelo here, even though he is starting with 7 cards, he's ended up with way more.
Yeah, he keeps going.
Yeah.
Only one of those cards that was set before the card of demise remains face down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really, really good opening hand.
Oh, wow.
I wonder how
This
many
is-
cards will be left in Carmelo's deck at the end of this first turn.
You think he's got to play the deck flip OTK?
Yeah, it's actually quite scary because if Adam is managing to resolve a few Necrofaces, we may end up seeing Carmelo deck out here.
Well, the Gren Maju is already sitting pretty at 4,000 attack or more from just that Pot of Desires.
Yeah, exactly. And then Eater of Millions as well.
Eater of Millions, you can even banish your entire extra deck to
Yeah.
summon it.
Exactly.
If we saw that happen, there would be 25 banished cards, putting it instantly up to 10,000 attack points.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So
yeah.
there's nothing that Camelo has to stop an attack, or is there?
What cards does Carmelo have on his side of the field?
Doesn't look like it.
Apocalypse and True King's Return. He'll be able to flip those two up together, use the Apocalypse to destroy another True Draco Trap, and the True Draco Trap hitting the grave
Yeah.
would
You-
take out the attack position monster. But
Evenly matched.
here we see evenly matched, just as in the first game, but,
Ooh, but
this
this
time
time-
there is no solemn judgment.
Yeah, guys, don't be afraid. You
Oh, that just looked like a brutal...
And
Oh my.
another 5 cards are added to the attack power of Gren Maju to Isa.
yeah.
okay? If Adam doesn't win this one,
What-
he really needs to find a new game to play.
What is the protection of this masterpiece? I didn't see what...
It's a good question that I don't know the answer to at this point. I assume that it has to be immune to spells, or we wouldn't be waiting so long to see this Regeki.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
He just passes play.
Just pass.
Yeah,
Surely
yeah.
you, at the very least, Eater of Millions or something. Do
Well,
something.
I wouldn't summon the Eater of Millions. He's given up his battle phase to play
Ah,
evenly
true,
matched.
yeah, sorry, I forgot about
so
the battle phase.
you'd just be losing your Eater of Millions for
Yeah.
no value.
That'd be sad.
Yeah, but now it's coming to the top.
Yes.
He
and
can tell by oh, and there's a necrophase.
at this point, he's able to play both the Eater of Millions and the Gren Maju in the same turn,
Yeah.
and one of them will be able to push past the Masterpiece.
Mhm.
I don't believe that it's immune to monster effects at this point, though I did miss it being summoned.
Eater of Millions is going to be on more than enough to attack over Masterpiece anyway. Though,
Oh,
isn't it?
absolutely. Does Eater of Millions count both players face down banished?
Let's just bring him
Not
up again.
100% sure.
Banishing 5 or more cards from your hand, field in or extra deck, face down. This card gains 100 for each face down banished card. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the opponent, Carmelo here, has 15 face down banished, 5 from Evenly, and 10 from Desires.
Yeah, and we see another 15 from...
I believe that was only 10.
Oh, did he only banish 10?
Yes.
I would think he would banish them all, but didn't see.
Well,
Maybe he's
assuming
waiting for
that
another
the
one.
Masterpiece isn't immune to monster effects, he can just banish it face down
Yeah,
with the
true.
effect of the Eater of Millions. It's
exactly.
still,
It's hard to say without knowing the immunity of Masterpiece.
I think he will be forced here to take out the Gren Maju just so that he doesn't bleed away the last of his life points.
Yeah.
Eater of Millions obviously with the stronger effect, but much, much lower attack at this stage.
Yeah.
All comes down to attack points.
We see 25 banished face down cards.
That's an interesting
lot.
choice. Yeah.
Does Gren Maju count both players, or is it just the...
It's also both players from what I remember.
yeah, that would put him at 10,000 attack points at this
It's
point.
kind of ridiculous, that card.
I remember when it was first released. I played a deck for Grand Marju
Yeah.
when it was first released.
It's a very straightforward effect from what I remember.
It's just your own. Yeah.
Oh, is it just your own?
Yeah.
Okay.
It even says removed from play cards.
So the Grand Maju was at a measly 4,000 attack at that point.
Only.
Yes.
Oh dear, Carmelo just revealing the Monarch Stormforth in his hand.
I don't think it matters, does it?
What's the other card he
it's
has?
Amano Iwato.
That's not going to do anything here. The Eater of Millions now up to 2,600 attack points.
Yeah, he can just like set it face down and defend from one attack, but he chooses to not even do that.
That's some serious attack points.
That's 6,600, I think, connecting there.
We promised to never do maths on live stream, me and Ollie, so I'll let you deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, they are doing it right now. And our judges are going to hack it into the app. So we're going to be fine.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Let's put it that way.
Well, what does Camilo have to come out of this situation? He's not playing I mean, he does have Raigeki, Dark Hole, and Lightning Vortex in his side deck.
Yeah, it's got to be one of these. But then all it's going to take from Adam is to draw another Grand Maju.
At this point, we have seen 2 of them burned already, though, so it's unlikely that he's going to draw another one immediately.
Yeah, or get a DDR or something like that to be able to recover one if there is one banished already.
I believe that all of Adam's banished cards are face down at this point.
Yeah, then all in the graveyard.
Yeah, and there's Camilo. He's looking at how many cards he's got in his deck. Did he draw into a pot?
He has Pot of Desires,
Pot of
yes, and he
Desires.
was checking to see whether he has
Yeah.
the requisite 12 cards.
That's also kind of weird, right? You're playing that card knowing that your
Right, Marge.
opponent's monster's just going to
But I
get even bigger.
I think there's an Ash Blossom.
Ow.
It's game over.
And that
Yeah,
is it,
that's
yeah.
right.
Okay, well, Adam Chamberlain tying things up 1-1 in our round 3
Yeah.
feature match.
That's what I think of Yosh. Solemn judgment.
Yeah, so now who's going to go first here?
With-
Camilo, of course, has the choice.
Yes, Carmelo will have the choice, and I think he'll be in a very tough position where he needs to predict how Adam is going to side.
Yeah.
We did see there that the Lightning Vortex went in for Carmelo, so he was clearly expecting to be told to be playing second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice when this like plays a major role and there's the mind game going on between rounds.
Yeah.
Seemed like Adam wasn't siding anything, is that correct?
Yeah, I think that was a mistake. I think Carmelo he's a world competitor. Let's put it that way. He's going to be paying attention to that kind of stuff. And Adam didn't even touch his side deck.
Yeah.
In Adam's position, he should have picked up his side deck, shuffled it into the main deck, and taken it out again.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's
At the very least, if that's what he wanted to try and mind game for.
yeah. So in terms of giving your opponent more information than he should be having, that was not.
Yeah, he just gave away a
Yeah.
hell of a lot of information.
This was not a good play in that regard.
Yeah.
So let's hope it's not gonna backfire on him too much.
Yeah. In fact, it was one of those situations where it was.
There's the
his-
Vortex on the side deck. There's the Raigeki. Those are the cards that Camilo is currently going over. So he knows for certain those cards, they don't need to be put
Yeah.
into the main deck right now.
It was Adam's
That's-
lack of action.
That suggests that Carmelo is choosing to play first,
Uh-huh.
though.
Yeah.
If
That
he's not
seems-
playing the Raigeki.
I'm 100% sure that I saw
Yeah.
the Vortex in the Raigeki.
I can only think then that Carmelo has decided his going first is better than Adam's going second.
Hmm.
So he's going to choose to do that.
So this is going to be interesting now. Was Adam's deck structured in a way that he wants to go second?
For the Grand Master deck, I don't think it's a huge difference.
Mhm.
Adam was
With the
certainly
right hand.
set up to play second in game 2, and he didn't side deck, so he's still set up to be playing second.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, Camilo could have taken advantage of that and just given his opponent that drawback in a way, of having not the ideal.
Wow, this is actually an amazing going second hand as well for Adam. He's not got a lot going on for his own engine, but he can stop a lot.
Right.
He's got 2 ghost hand traps and a kaiju.
Feels like a very weak hand for Adam. He doesn't have any way to field any threat on his own side of the field.
Yeah.
He's got the Grand Maju, but no way to pump the attack. He needs to find something to give himself a credible board position, or he'll just find himself bleeding out life points. He has a battle fader to stay alive by the looks of things, but
That's 400 attack at least for Grand Maju.
Baby steps.
Baby steps, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Adam's hand could have been so much worse. It could have been much like game 1 where he had nothing going on. At least right now he's got a lot to stop Carmelo with. But not after Inspector Border.
The Inspector Border switches off all of those hand traps straight away.
Yeah. It was so good until Inspector Border came down and was like, I'm having none of that. Inspector Border, our new kind of Denko Sekka type monster, really makes a huge impact.
For hand traps.
Yeah.
And Carmelo's got the nuts opening here.
Yeah.
Adam tries to use his Ash Blossom, but is reminded that there's nothing he can do.
Wow.
The veteran move by Carmelo here.
Yeah.
He's just like, I've seen this before. No, this is not working.
Yeah. He didn't even entertain the idea of, of not drawing those cards.
Yeah, save for yet another unanswered evenly matched. It doesn't feel like Adam's in a strong position.
Right. He also gave away one card in his hand. Not like terribly important, but still.
And we see that Masterpiece immune to spells and traps, so a Raigeki or a Dark Hole wouldn't solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
still the Kaiju.
A Carmelo strategy of like putting yourself in a spot where you can't be defeated in a way.
Yeah.
So far working pretty well for him. He needs something to like wrap things up.
Yeah.
It's a good start, but we're not quite there yet.
I think, you know, Inspector Border, I don't think we talked enough about him. He's going to make a huge impact over the next, you know, months, years of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think. He's such an important monster.
I can only really see Adam coming back in here if he's able to draw into something like a Pot of Desires, into an evenly matched, and then follow up with a Kaiju for the Masterpiece in main phase 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, even just if he's able to get, you know, as you say, Pot of Desires, he gets a decent chunk of attack points on the Gren Mayu at that point.
So here Carmelo is it's like showing his cards. He's like, this is what I got.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Adam's perhaps receiving a warning for an illegal activation for his hand
No,
trap.
I think he has a question about when he can activate something, and Kiwi is just explaining it to him.
Yeah.
It's my best guess.
It's fully explaining Inspector Border. It's got quite a short amount of text and does quite a lot. Well, say short. The important bits are quite short.
In relative terms, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it cannot be normal or special summoned if you control a monster. Well, he met that requirement. He summoned it first. Neither player can activate monster effects unless the number of monster effects that player has previously activated that turn is less than the number of monster card types currently on the field. Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, Pendulum, and Link. So since none of those are on the field,
yeah, he can't activate any.
This is a way easier way of putting it.
Yeah.
If an effect's activation was negated, it still counts toward the total for that turn. Okay, so the attempt counts, not the actual negation. And only count effects that were activated while this monster was face up on the field. Well, that is fair enough.
He actually kaiju'd the Inspector Border.
Well, his hand does absolutely nothing with Inspector Border on the field. His only spell card play is the...
yeah, I guess he can just set Gramayu after this.
Oh no, he'll probably summon the Grenmaju to force the effect of the Masterpiece, and then he'll be able to use his Ghost Ogre in hand to at least take it out.
That's true, yeah, he needs spell and trap immune.
Yes, he needs to stop himself from losing life at this point. So even if it costs him a monster on field for that Grenmaju effect, he will at least be able to take it out if he can force the effect.
If that's the way he sees it. And we've seen some different decision making than what we guessed. Oh, there was an Imperial Iron Wall.
Oh, he hits the second Necroface with the first.
Wow, that's
That'll
nice.
really start to pump up the Grenmaju.
Well, that's Raigeki gone.
Not gonna lie, I really love seeing an Imperial Iron Wall get banished off Necroface. Makes me feel good inside.
Like, that's what you get.
Yeah, just warm and fuzzy. I used to play this kind of deck.
That's what you get for your anti-cards.
Yeah, so
it's 2 copies actually. 2 copies of Imperial Iron Wall are gone.
nah, that's what they get. Sorry,
think,
I played a Grand Maju deck. I understand the pain of seeing an Iron Wall.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you understand the entirety of the pain.
The critical thing to see there was the a copy of Disciples being banished. With True Draco deck, you have complete ability to continue to recycle your True Draco cards for so long as you have 2 copies of Disciples left in play.
Yeah.
But as soon as 2 copies are banished, you don't have any way to keep that loop going and be able to recycle your resources and have the inevitability of the rest of the game.
Right. I mean, he's got 1 copy in hand, but that's not going to do as much.
I said that I didn't think there was any continuous spells and traps for Masterpiece to use here.
So he's activating the effect of Apocalypse to halve the attack of Gren Maju by sending Disciples from the field to the grave.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's gone for the tribute summon effect.
That's
wow,
that's also a valid
even
option.
That's
and
even better, yeah.
Even better, yeah. Camelo is really like, he's got a hold of this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Masterpiece is just phenomenal.
It's a good card, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah.
We'll see Battle Fader buying an extra turn here for Adam,
There's a new Inspector Border for Camelo in hand.
but it can't be summoned.
Can't be summoned right now. No, that's true. Just imagine, Adam gets rid of the field, and then there's a new Inspector Border hitting play. That's like such a trolling move.
Yeah, that would be...
Like, okay, I
That'd
give
be
up. I give up. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen enough now. Bam,
How
bam.
bow.
There's the Battle Fader.
It's interesting that he chose to use
What
the Battle
year is this?
Fader to interrupt there. We can see that he wasn't going to suffer lethal damage, so it's often a card that you choose to hold on to until the turn where you absolutely need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Was that-
actually, and that would have been
Did he just
better.
pick
That's
up an evenly matched?
Yeah.
Oh dear. he could have tanked those 2 hits
Rah.
and been in a position to at least take down one of these masterpieces. Although, as it is, he may be in a position to let the Battle Fader die, tank the 2 hits, and then drop evenly matched on his opponent's battle phase.
Yeah, that would be even better.
It's interesting how this match is going back and forth. Again, we have so many of these games this weekend. Going into this tournament, some players said, yeah, this is not going to be like the most exciting format. So far, we're proving them wrong. This, this is very entertaining.
We've not seen a lot of the top-end meta decks yet.
Are you saying these are not the top-end meta games?
Granted, True Draco is, but...
I want to see somebody set a Grand Mayu and then
Yeah.
have the opponent run into it for game.
That's how we were first introduced to this deck, in fact, in YCS... Oh, I don't remember where it was. In America. It was somewhere in America. YCS America.
It's ever going to be known like that.
So we're coming up to the end of the battle phase for Carmelo here. It's interesting that Adam chose to use the evenly matched then. He could have saved it for his own battle phase and would have been able to hit this extra card that was coming down onto the field for Carmelo.
And he also knew that that extra card
He's
would
got
be
another
coming.
one anyway.
Yeah, but he first has to tank the hits now.
Judges seem to be checking whether Inspector Border can be set. It feels a bit mean to Carmelo at this point because it sort of gives away exactly what it is if Adam knows that that might be a contentious ruling.
Right. But at the same time, he's going to be happy that this card is able to hit play again.
Yeah. This Necroface can get big enough to attack over the Masterpiece, but obviously it's going to die to its effect much sooner than being able to battle it. But I think that's what Adam is looking at doing here. So when Necroface is normal summoned, she returns all of the banished cards back to the owner's decks and gains 100 attack points for each.
Was that an evenly matched being set there?
Yeah.
Yes. He's triggering his opponent.
Yeah, Adam is still alive at this point, so yeah.
Hanging in there, but not by much. Not by much.
No, we live on slivers of hope here. What can Adam possibly do here?
What is the immunity of this Masterpiece? It was tributed with a trap card. We
Yeah.
saw, and
So here's the evenly matched. And Camelo is asking about... Okay, so the thing is, there was an attack. And then Camelo said, okay, now I'm going to flip summon this monster. And then Adam said, okay, I'm going to activate evenly matched. So the question is, are you still allowed?
Yeah.
Did you both agree that we are getting out of the battle phase? But Kiwi said, okay, there was like no agreement between the two players that were going out of the battle phase, so allowed to go back.
that looks like game over.
Yeah,
the only answer is summon Necroface, then it gets destroyed, and then...
I assume there's plenty of fuel in the grave for this masterpiece.
I don't think there's a whole...
it's not game yet.
too much.
No, there's still life points, but
Yeah.
having life points doesn't mean you've still got any
Still
hope.
got a chance to win the game.
If he's able to get an Eater of Millions off the top here, then might work.
Do we see how much fuel there is in the grave here?
I mean, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in the graveyard.
In the graveyard for Carmelo.
Yeah, we can't see the cards.
Yeah, we can't see it. I don't think we got all the cards in there.
Because the
Slash
crucial
Eddie.
thing is how many continuous spells and traps there are for Carmelo to use. Is it a matter of conserving resources?
So Carmelo almost toying with the opponent here. Don't like the spot that Adam is in.
No, I don't think Adam does either.
No. He needs the top deck now.
Yeah, that's completely useless. It's a Galaxy Cyclone. Galaxy Cyclone? Cosmic Cyclone. There's too many Cyclones.
Yeah, cannot be activated thanks to that anti-spell fragrance.
Yeah.
And he might be setting Necroface.
Yeah, that
Nah.
would keep him alive just a little bit longer.
Yeah, just hanging in there.
Adam's got the look of a man with no plays.
Okay. Seems to have options. He seems to think he has options. Somebody's shaking a bit on the feature match area. It's probably somebody.
Yeah, the whole structure is moving.
Yeah, somebody's watching and he thinks it's a good idea to lean on the structure. It is not, in case you were wondering.
No. Yeah.
But in
That's
the
it.
end, doesn't matter. Camelo Pudiglieri taking the second win, picking up the pieces, and that is it for him. With that, let's talk about that in our post-match analysis. Yeah, guys, that was round number 3 for YCS Bochum 2018. So far, we're making some good progress.
Yeah.
Going through the tournament, I spoke to the head judges. They were quite pleased. We have 40 minutes in between rounds. I know this sounds like a lot, but if you've ever been to a massive tournament like this, could be so much worse.
Yes.
Let's just mention spellbook format, and
I
everybody
was just going to say.
everybody knows what I'm talking about.
I have flashbacks to Frankfurt in 2013.
Yeah. So in this round, we saw Camelo Pudiglieri, who has attended the World Championship before, so he's one of the finest duelists, going up against Adam Chamberlain from Ireland, who brought the Grand Mayu OTK deck to the table.
Yeah.
You like to say Grand Maju. What's the correct version?
I think it's Maju.
Okay. I'm going to check with my Japanese contacts. They should know.
Is it Japanese?
I'm not sure. I'm just talking.
I'm going to check with my Martian contacts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's break it down for you guys. The first round, like going into this match, we thought that Adam was in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
Looking at the deck lists.
Adam certainly had the tech cards in his main deck to be able to deal with it, but we only saw one Kaiju being brought out in the entire match, and that was most of the edge that he had available to him. In the end, no upset here. We see the deck that does more winning, and it's typically the deck that has more plays and does more things. Often newer cards tend to be better, and we've just seen it come through time and time again, as we saw before with the new Pendulum Magicians, proving that despite the adversity of Lunar Lights, the new cards that do more are the better one, and here, the new True Dracos.
Right. So the first match, first game, it was actually Camelo going first. 5 face-down cards. It was with 7 cards, right? Was that in the first? No, that was the second game. Second game.
I believe it was the first game as well that there was a card of demise played.
Oh, now I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Well, okay, he did draw a lot of cards. Let's just agree on that. He
Yes.
drew into a lot of cards. And we were like, oh my god, he's got everything. But his opponent, Adam's got an evenly matched, so he's going to turn this around. And in our confusion, like checking all those face-down cards and everything, we completely forgot that he also had a Solemn Judgment. So when you're watching this match back, be sure to like be very careful with the volume meter on your microphone, because in that moment when we all in unison realized that there's a Solemn Judgment face down, which is now going to get flipped, your cue word is you're going to see Carmelo's soul being shredded, ripped apart.
Yeah.
That's your
Turn
cue.
the volume down.
This is when you have to turn down the volume, because this is when we all got super excited because Carmelo had the Solemn Judgment, and that made all the difference. So this is how he
Completely
took the
different
first
game.
game. Yeah.
I think that Solemn Judgment was actually the last card that was drawn at the very end of that turn from his final draw effect.
He was already invested. He already had 4 face downs or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. This is how we... I'm just telling myself that. So we missed that because it was the last card drawn.
Yeah.
So a second game, different story. There was, of course, the question of who's going to go first.
Yeah.
What are they going to side into? And we did see some strategy with that, with Adam choosing to add more cards to his main deck and counter stuff that Carmelo was ready to bring in, like the Imperial Iron Wall, which you said you don't really like as a Grand Macho player.
No, I don't like it. It stops me. I always liked the kind of dark banishy decks with like DD Survivor and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't like Iron Wall.
So all of these cards didn't really help Carmelo. Like he had the right tools, but he didn't draw into them. Or Adam had the right answers. He had a very late evenly match in that game as well, if I remember correctly. And this is how he tied things up. And then we went into the third game, where we saw one thing that we really should highlight for you guys at home if you're trying to learn the game and become like more competitive. Adam made it extremely obvious that he's not going to side a single card.
Yeah.
So Carmelo had that extra piece of information. And that allowed him to stack his deck in the most legal of ways to say, okay, now I can go first, because I know you're not going to change anything about your deck. So I think it's very hard to disagree here. This was probably not the correct move.
No, I think it was a small mistake on Adam's part, which led to a much bigger result, especially against a player like Carmelo, where he's been to the World Championships, he's paying attention to this kind of stuff. You know, the regular gameplay, he's got locked down. He doesn't need to worry too much about that. These little bits of extra information that he can get by really paying attention to his opponent, that's what makes the difference.
Yeah. So that was kind of make or break and gave him a bit of an edge. And he did exactly what he was planning to do. He assembled a gigantic field and gave his opponent almost no way out there.
Yeah.
I was almost very surprised not to see Carmelo opting to play second, because having given away that information, to me, the capitalizing move would have been to side deck to go second myself and force the opponent with their deck built to go second into going first. I know that True Draco is very good at dealing with a field full of cards, all of the True Draco spells and traps, destroying things when they go to the grave. I think that he could have done more with that information that he had available to him.
Yeah.
Well,
interesting. When we interview him, we can see if he did pick up on that.
Right. Speaking of interview, that's what we're going to in store for you guys next. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with a winner interview after round number 3.